Welcome. I know this may be an odd video for a PlayStation 5 specific channel to post. However, I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to share my experience with the Nintendo Entertainment System Lego set, what is included, how it's built, and why I think this is the perfect gift or system for a nostalgia fan. So let's dive right into it and talk about the different components. So the first thing I want to talk about is the television that is included in this set. So there's many reasons why I like this television. It's a, I guess, low-tech branded television, obviously made completely out of Legos, including the diorama scene that we see Mario in. One thing that I really like about this television is the fact that it's so detailed, from the stickers, the AV ports, and then the antenna. On the right side, we have our crank that we use to turn the scene that we see in the front panel. Even the antenna comes up like a normal antenna. And so the hand crank is very easy to turn. It's very smooth, and I feel like the scene that they represent here for Mario is true to source material. It just everything works so smoothly. It was easy to build, it made sense, and again, I think sticking true to that source material is extremely important when talking about people who have bought this for nostalgia. Another thing that I found extremely interesting and why I like this aspect of the build so much is that the TV is very detailed. It has knobs that you would be used to seeing, the little on-off switches that switch back and forth, even this channel that you can turn. It makes the same noise as older TVs did. And just like then, there were times in some TVs that you couldn't turn the turn dial past a certain point, and that's true in this as well. And you turn it back the other way, and so there's a beginning and end point for that. So this is definitely one of my favorite parts of the build. It was very easy to do. The spinning mechanism inside with the scene, at first I was really curious how they would make that work, but they made it work perfectly. It was easy to build. It was pretty intuitive once you saw the directions. Very ingenious, honestly. And so it works perfectly, and I could always see them making an NES Lego set, but to include a TV with this scene, I think is next level, and what makes this set so unique and definitely worth what I feel like the price is, especially for a nostalgia fan. So let's jump to the NES. Okay, so now let's talk about the NES system itself. So again, it follows the source material extremely well. Unfortunately, I don't have a NES system anymore, but I feel like this is very close to the actual size of the Nintendo Entertainment System, which is awesome that even the size is quite accurate. So we have our power and reset buttons, our controller ports, we have our front panel that does pop open. Unfortunately, this LED doesn't work, but it looks like the one on the actual system, and so still, I think that's incredible. It has these little awkward, weird things that the NES did have that honestly, I don't even remember what the purpose of those were. We've got our reset button and our TV and all the other little buttons there. We got our AV, audio and video right here. So overall, you look at the top of it, it's a little odd that these two Legos are showing because everything else is flat and looks literally identical to the Nintendo. But you know, that's griping at this point. So this also comes with the controller, which again looks very close to the original. Obviously, this is making it out of Legos, so these buttons don't actually push down. The D-pad doesn't push, but it looks very good. Looks just like a Nintendo controller, and I think that looks awesome. And then the little game, I think, is adorable. Absolutely love it. This obviously isn't anywhere close to the size of a NES game. So actually maybe this is quite a bit smaller because this is not an NES game size. And then that's what the back looks like. So one thing I think that is absolutely incredible about this, and again, next level, is that if you remember the game hatch within the Nintendo Entertainment System, you put the game in, you push it down, that's how you start it. Well, it actually has this, which blew my mind. I could not believe, I thought there was just going to be a little slot that you could put a game, but no, they actually have the port. You hear the sound, you push it down, boom, you're off. I mean, it's absolutely, again, the attention to detail is incredible. That's a Nintendo Entertainment System. I think it was really fun to watch it be built from ground up and slowly become the system that we all know and love just from Legos. So now let's cover a couple things that I liked most, and then some things that they could have probably done better, and then final thoughts. So the number one thing that I like most about this Lego set, and I would say this is the first Lego set I have ever built, so maybe this is how all Lego sets are, but for this particular one, I was absolutely blown away with the attention to detail. I've already kind of mentioned in each part here how I was impressed with the detail. The fact that it has the port for the game and it pops up and down is incredible. Another thing that blows my mind that you can see in both of these systems that I won't go into too much horrible detail here, but so this is what you would see when obviously you display it or the finished product. But if you would, for example, pop this part off, this looks to be like a series of transistors or resistors, different things that you would they just look like electronics, which blows my mind that within a piece and within the system that you would never see when you display it, they went to the detail to add things that again look like electronics. And if this is within the original NES, I have no clue. But regardless, to me, that is incredible. I just think that's really neat. I've already talked about how the TV has so many of the features that I think are very unique and very true to older TVs. And then I wanted to show kind of how the mechanism for the spinning scene works. And so you build, obviously, all of this, and it would take too long to kind of explain how it works, but you rotate this, and again, it's very smooth. It never gets caught. I really don't see or foresee any issues in the future with this. So the amount of detail that they have put into this system is just mind-boggling, and it shows that they actually took this, managed it with care. You have two instruction booklets about this size, one for the TV, one for the NES. They're very simple instructions. They go literally step by step, almost to a fault, to where you're like, okay, obviously that piece goes there, or you don't have to show one piece being added to this at a time, which made the book so thick. But it's kind of nice. If you have a kid building it, it makes it very easy for them. The pictures are large and colorful. I had not a single issue building this. And again, I've never built a Lego set before. So I think that's very true to how well that they made this book and the instructions. So those were the two things that stuck out most to me and why I enjoyed this build so much. All right, so let's discuss really only one aspect of the system that I'm not a huge fan of, and this is graping to begin with. So I mentioned that I thought it was really unique how the system had this little internal holder for the game. I know it's difficult to see because of lighting, I apologize. But when it pops up and down, it's not the most responsive. Sometimes it has issues. Like right now, you saw I had to go and push a lever that made it pop up. It's really easy to do, but it's not the easiest. And sometimes I would say maybe 60 to 80% of the time gets caught. Now again, I know it's Legos, so I should give them a break because the fact that it's even there is impressive. Other thing, and really the only other thing, is my actual game cartridge. So the front of it looks absolutely incredible. It's tiny, it's adorable, it's great. But then the back of it, you look and it's like, okay, well, what did they do here? Like, this looks straight up like Legos. Like, why not make the back of it also smooth? And I I don't know. I've looked. I'm not missing anything. You can even look on the box. It looks as though there should be a piece on the bottom, right? Like you see that bottom kind of little slot. Well, I don't have anything that could correct that. These are all the extra pieces I had. None of those are flat, and none of those would help me really. Maybe I can make that final edge on the bottom here, but I don't know. That they seemed, I don't know why they kind of chinsed out on that, but I feel like they did. Why not make the back of this flat? I mean, everything else is smooth and looks perfect. Even the ridges here, like everything else is smooth and perfect. Why quit at that? I mean, I suppose also the controller has those Lego things in the back anyhow. But again, those are nitpicky things that quite possibly people, especially if you just display it, would never see. So my final thoughts are the fact that I understand this is 250-ish bucks. That is a lot of money for a Lego set. However, if you have it to spare, this is a perfect gift for a nostalgia fan, someone who grew up and had an NES. It's true to source material. It was an absolute blast to build. It took me about 8 or 9 hours to build all this, so a pretty good time investment for the money. And then you have this that you can display, and it's something that's very displayable. I've seen Lego sets that honestly I don't think I would display in my house, but if you have a little game room, a man cave, this is something you could definitely lay out. It would be something that is a conversation starter and something that wouldn't look out of sorts, and it looks good enough that you could be proud displaying it in your room, or again, man cave, game room, wherever it may be. So quite a bit of money, decent amount of time to build, very easy to build, very cool. If you have it to spare and you're a fan of the NES, I would say go for it, definitely. Even maybe give it a few months. The price may end up dropping down if they've made sufficient supply, and then maybe you could get it a little bit cheaper. But that's my thoughts on the NES Lego set. If you have any questions, please post below, and I will answer any questions you may have. Thanks for watching.